Hello, my YouTube family. I'm Helen Sadler, your Destiny Helper, coming to you once again with a subject that many of you have wrote me and asked me if I could elaborate on it a little bit further. You said that he's in my mind. He's always in my head. How can I get rid of him? And I've been away from him. I had no contact, but yet I can hear him and I can feel him pulling on me until I want to go back. What do I do? When you have been with the narcissist, if you go back to the other videos that we've talked about how the narcissist can have a physiological effect, a psychological effect, and how they can isolate you socially. And they're repetitious in their doing because they're intentional in their doing. They affect your mental aspect to the point of memory. The narcissists do things repetitiously because they want to engage your memory. They want to provoke your memory. In the narcissist's mind, he intends to hoover you if he don't get supply, if she don't get supply. And when they don't get supply, they like to keep within their memoir what they've already experienced. Narcissists don't like elimination. They want to add to, but they don't want to eliminate. So when they discard you, it's not a final discard. Most narcissists, unless you just don't give any fuel, they don't do a final discard. They will always come back around. Even if coming back around means years later. There have been narcissists that have come around 5 years, and 5 years later they come back. 10 years later they come back. And when they come back to the last action or the last phase that they left off with. They don't come back with anything new. They act as if they never left, because in the mind of the narcissist, it's fantasy immature, and they so geared and locked into time, and the only way they update in time is the supply they have, and based on that supply, this is how they change, and this is how they mirror. So a narcissist, when they're with you, if you notice your narcissist, they're very patterned. They like this cologne, and they'll use this cologne over and over and over. Why? So when you smell that cologne, you would think of them. They will play this music over and over. So when you hear the music, you can think of them. They touch you a certain way. They're very mechanical. They're lovemaking. The way they talk, the way they react, they are very mechanical. It's almost like in their brain, this pattern goes off and they push the play, and whatever the play was is the exact way they play it, because they mirror their last supply, or they mirror what they hear. They are very excellent performers. So the reason the narcissist lock in your mind is so even when he's gone, even when she's gone, in your memory, you're always recalling them, and and circumstance and smells and fragrance and dinners. They take you to certain places, and they know they have that physiological effect, because a narcissist is addictive. They are just like drugs. That's why once you find out that you are dealing with a narcissist, get away. Run. Don't excuse it. Don't stay there. Don't think you're strong enough. Get away, because of the physiological effects. They affect your chemicals. They affect your hormones. They affect your mind. They affect your memory, your sleep pattern, the way you think, your cravings, your desires, all of that. And you got to remember that a narcissistic relationship is not a normal relationship, and they need fuel. They're like vampires. Like vampire needs blood. They need fuel. What do you mean by fuel? They need you to always praise them. They need you to always be there. They need to always have control over what you do, when you do it, who you're around. Their word is the final word. What they say goes. Not even your children, especially stepchildren. I even did a teaching on that, which I'm going to come back and do a part 2, because many of you are asking me to please do a part 2, because I'm in that situation. I promise you I will come back and do a part 2. But the narcissist, the reason you will not be eliminated in their mind is because they have embellish your mind with their presence, with their thoughts. And narcissists are cruel, and they know they're cruel. But you got to remember, most of them had a history of abuse and damage and was able to get back in. And so the fact that they was able to get back in, it taught them to abuse. And we call that trauma bonding. When they traumatize you and then they come back and they're sweet and nice, it confuses the brain, and the brain start excusing the trauma for love because it's not on the continual basis. The makeup is so good until you excuse the most severe trauma to your life, to your body, to your children, to your finances, to your mind, to your ego, to your dignity, to whatever you have. You start to excuse it because the narcissist is very observant. They observe how you are. And you got to remember, they was very, 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 very interrogative when they first met you. They wanted to know everything about you. They were very intense in the attention span of how you related that information. They gave way to that information. They let nothing stop them because they are recorders. They are like an elephant. They remember exactly what you say and when you say it and how you say it, because that information will be used against you again. They put it in your mind. And if you notice, there are repetitions. You go through the same thing. They promise you they're not going to do it. They do it all over again. And then there are repetitions in their words. Notice the narcissists, how they talk. They talk the same. And they never resolve an issue. When you bring up an issue, they always jump the subject. When people jump the subject, it leaves this gaping hole in your mind. And then after a while, when they keep jumping the subject, you start questioning yourself about the subject, whether you are wrong to initiate answers, to even want information concerning the subject. All of this goes to the brain. And you got to remember, the brain does not, the mind, the ears hear words and send it to the mind. But once the mind get the words, it send it into visuals. It send it into pictures. What you see, you remember more than what you hear. So everything the narcissist does and say, it becomes a picture in your mind, a movie in your mind. And they play it and they play it and they play it and they watch your reaction. Because a lot of times with a narcissist, you don't respond, you react. React means it's just a reflex. You didn't think about it, you just did it. And then if you do that, they will make you regret what you say. You said this, and then they make you feel so bad. They already know you love them. And if you notice, you love that narcissist unlike you love anybody else. It's not regular love that you love that narcissist. You love the narcissist till there's nothing you're willing to give up. You'll give up family. You'll give up children. You'll give up your job. You'll give up everything. The narcissist does not stop in the love bombing until they possess you. They possess every aspect. The first thing they see is impress you with sight. And once they impress you with sight, they come in and impress your mind. They impress your mind and they start messing with your senses. They smell good. They look good. Then they talk what you talk. They start off a conversation and they pick up how you talk. They pick up your interest in the conversation. All a mind game, because they need to download in your memory, because you will be left. They will not stay. They are not faithful. Even the vulnerable narcissists, they will not stay. They will leave. Not all narcissists cheat. Not all narcissists cheat. Some narcissists may not cheat because some of them are not sexually engaged like that, and some of them can go months without sex. Some of them have been noted to even go years without sex. Some of them are just not engaged. The intelligent, intellectual knowledge narcissist is into intellect. I mean, you can do everything you want to do. It doesn't faze them sexually. If they do sexually, it's for manipulation. It's you. If they feel like you're going to go out, then they would take care of you just to keep you quiet, just to satisfy you. But that's not what manipulates them. That's not what gets them. It's what manipulates you. And if they know that that is a crux in their corner, if they know that that gives them more weight with you, that's what they will use. Boring in your mind, because the narcissist has to set up so when they triangulate, when they walk out, when they ghost, no matter what they do, they gotta come back to home plate. That's why the long-term supply, which usually end with a marriage, and the short-term supply, which just they engage and leave and get and come back. So it's a bouncer. They engage, they come back, they leave, and they come back, and they keep doing that. It's a cyclic event. They circle that event. They keep doing that because narcissists are known for pattern. They got this recorder, and it is what they think it is, and 9 times out of 10 is none of that reality. None of that is reality, but they're locked in their world. And what the narcissist does is bring you into their world. What attracted them was the opposite of their world, that you could love them, that you could care for them, that you could appreciate them. Now what they want is to bring you into their world where everything they are, they now want to get it out of you. And then when they get out of you, they say, see, you keep saying I'm this, but you're the one. And they're not satisfied until they see traits. When the narcissist starts seeing traits, you notice that's when they start backing off. That's when they start ghosting. That's when they go to the silent treatment. That's when those narcissistic fleas that jump and they will not come off. All of that is for memory. All of it, because they plan to hoover you. They plan to come back. One lady said, my narcissists have not come back. You're still breathing. You're still living. They will try to come back. 10 years, 5 years, 6 months, 1 day, 1 week, 2 hours. They will try to come back because the narcissists always go around in circles. And each time they go around in circles, they add to their harem. They add another woman. And another thing they do is if they have more than one fuel supply, they put these fuel supplies because they have to manage them. In order to manage them, they have the first 3 months, these 6 people, the next 3 months, these 6 people, and the next 3 months down to the 12 months. And each time that season come around, they bring those 3 people, plus they add to that supply. So if they got 3 people, they want you in that, and they don't have to keep getting new supply in case it's difficult. They got these 3, and the narcissists like everything the way they left it. They hate change. If change comes, it's because they change it, not because you change it. They hate change. So the regime of having the 3 supply that furnish them the fuel they need, they will be there from January to March. So now it's November, December, where you haven't seen the narcissist in 9 months. All right. Next thing you know, he circles around, but it's Susan, Sally, and Peaches. Those are the ones he gonna, no matter who he add, January to March, Susan, Sally, and Peaches, he want there with them. And he bore in their memory because on his calendar, he has segments of leaving, segments of arrival. When you get a narcissist that is that skilled and that plenteous in supply, they have to be orchestrated. And they're not going to love. They're not going to give. So they're not concerned about that. They don't want anybody on their territory. So in between, they give you little texts. You may have a rendezvous, and they put you back on the shelf because they got all of this regiment that they have to make sure they take care of. The narcissists depend on your memory. But think about this now. They depend on your memory, but what they challenge the life, some of the things to go from the pressure, from the stress, from the anxiety, is your memory. Most people that have been with a narcissist 6 months or more has acute memory loss, and that they get away from them, and you have to be, it depends on how long you've been with them. that you have to be away from them, and the fog start to clear, and you notice you start feeling better. The more you stay away, the better you feel. The more you stay no contact, the better you feel. But you have that craving in the middle of no contact. You can almost feel their hands. You can almost see them walk in the room. You can smell them. It's orgasmic to think of them. And you've been no contact, but they have built in your memory, I'm coming back. You can't do without me. You love me. And because some of you have never understood that it's a narcissistic addictive relationship, they are like drugs. They begin to affect the dopamine. They begin to affect your adrenaline. You don't know whether to run or to stay. You don't know. You are always at a height. You're always like a heart. So when I went to Africa, the different hearts, the hearts, H-A-R-T-S, when they are there, they are always alert. They are always in a flight mode because anything can go down at any time. And you're like that. You lived life in a readiness. You don't know whether to sit. You don't know whether to run. You don't know whether to respond. You don't know whether to be quiet, because if you be quiet, then he'll manipulate me constantly. If you say something, you wounded them so bad until he leave. So you are totally confused. And you notice that when you left, the confusion left, but the cravings usually are the last to go. It's the first when you leave. But if you notice in a period of time, you start craving them. You know the narcissist is bad for you. But what happened is you actually start excusing their behavior. Well, maybe if I didn't do this, he would have, she would have. It is not your fault. It doesn't matter what you do. You will never be able to please your narcissist. You will never be able to satisfy your narcissist. You will never have enough sex. You will never do enough moves. You will never buy them enough anything. You will never give them enough money. If you give them all your money, they will tell you how weak you are. If you didn't give them money, they will tell you you don't love them. You will never satisfy a narcissist, because a narcissist is not based on himself with circumstance. A narcissist is that from the inside. It's the core of them. That's why it's NPD. It's their personality. Their person is that to the core. And if you can't handle that to the core, you can't handle the narcissist. The narcissists don't have change in their mind. Even when they cry and boo-hoo and tell you they're going to change, a week later, they back in the same mode. A week later, they're back in the same regimen. Even if they go as long as 2 weeks, they do the same thing over and over and over and over and again. You've been with them for 20 years, over and over and over again. You've been with them for 30 years, over and over and over again. Some of you have 50 and 60 years under your belt. Then the 61st year, he divorced you. He won't out. And he don't come back for 3 years. And you are thinking, I've spent all this time with the narcissist. The longer you stay, the more impact they have on the memory. Why? Because those thoughts go deeper. Those emotions go deeper. You got an investment in the narcissist, even though he don't have an investment in you. It's like putting millions of dollars in a bank account. You can draw interest, but you can get better if you do an investment. You would draw more increase with an investment. You will get more interest on your money. Well, the bank will give interest, and you have to have a lot of money in order to make the bank work with an interest rate, or you have to buy CDs and money market certificates or do investment in order for you to get your return. A narcissist does not invest in you for you. They invest in you for them, and everything is about them. Your mind, your sight, your eyes. You are just appliance. Can you imagine everything you do and being in the relationship in every moment, every painful second is because of what they need. It's because of what they want. It's because of what they desire. You become their ice cream. You become their lollipop. You become their snack. You become their main course. You become their drink. You become garbage. You what they throw away. Then they'll go, and when they throw you away, narcissists blackball you, or you in the white, or you in the red, and based on how you re-earn their attention. Because a lot of time when you get blackballed, they leave you there. Even if they take you back, you are always a blackball. You will always be an outskirt. They will always tell you what you're not. And they love bomb you enough just to will you in before they kill you again and resurrect you to will you in and kill you again. The narcissist, and sometime I know you think it cannot be somebody that terrible. Well, the only way you can say that is you've never been with a narcissist. Then it's easy for you to say that. But those of you who've been with a narcissist and live with a narcissist, you know the personality of a narcissist. But you have to get past the love bombing. Some of you notice something that is not right, but you're still in the love bombing stage. They are not done with you yet. And when you're in the love bombing stage, you're going to defend the narcissist. You're going to defeat everybody that talks about the narcissist, because you never had it like that, where you had never had a narcissist. You had people with narcissistic traits, but they can change, they can love. But you haven't had a narcissist who do not have the ability to love, the ability to show compassion. When they cry, they're not crying over you. They're crying because they feel like they lost something, they've been wounded, and they need that back so they can use it some more. And if once they cry and get back into your mind, get back into your heart, you notice the routine is the same. So you said that you've been away from them. I've been away from them for a year, but I still feel them. I still want them. I can still smell them. I was so wounded. I was beat almost to death. Why do I still want them? Because you got to get them out of your system. When you go to a rehabilitation center for drug addiction, they get that drug out of your system. And some people take longer than others. It depends on how deep the narcissist got. Because as deep as he got, that's the way we have to go, as deep, and start peeling those layers off. It's easy to jump in, but when you can roll down the hill, that's faster. But going up the hill is work. And when you are in that relationship, you're rolling, it's going, and it's rolling. And you think, oh, you don't know how deep it is, but it's rolling downhill because it's going to what it's never going to be. But when you start to heal, it's going uphill. It hurts, but the going up here is going to strengthen your heart. It's going to strengthen your muscles. It's going to form you. It's going to shape you. It's going to pull that old muscle from out of the position that it was and lift those muscles up and put them in brand new places. And so what happens is, it is difficult when you building a good thing from a narcissistic relationship. It is painful. And don't let anyone tell you it's not painful. It is. Some of you were able to get out of that relationship before it got too deep. You escaped. You don't have the trauma that someone else that was in there for 5 years have. You escaped. And some people say, I was with a narcissist, but they never got away with none of that. Yeah, you escaped. You probably barely got out of the love bombing phase. You didn't really, he probably dropped the mask, but when they drop the mask in the love bombing phase, they don't want you to know who they are. So they quickly put that mask on and they love you until you forget. And then you start confusing what you saw. And then finally, you excuse what you saw. And your memory won't retain that information because you want the narcissist. So many of you that did not really get in deep, with the narcissist, you don't have that testimony. But many of you who had a relationship that went 6 months, a year, 3 months, it was treacherous. Because some narcissists, based on the use of the supply, allowed themselves to be exposed. The love bombing probably was 3 months. And the 4th month, he was on it. Why? Because he already triangulating. He already got something else. If the narcissists think you too smart and you can catch on, they immediately get another supply because they need the supply weak where they can control them. And they see that you're going to cause them too many problems because you're a fighter. You fight too much. You ask too many questions. So they're just going to be with you. They're going to love bomb you. And what they want to do is get so deep in your mind that quick. And then they discard you because they want to rip your heart out of your chest. And the way you have to do this, when you've been discarded or escaped, You have to go through the regimen. You got to go through the process. I don't care how many therapists, I don't care how many life coach or how many experts tell you that it's different. How is it different when something you love leaves? When something you love discarded you, or something you love, you had to escape from it. The reason you escaped because something went wrong to make you want to leave. And so you took flight. And you left, you ran away. And a lot of times people run away, they regret. But if you come back to the narcissist on your own, which is another whole program, I want to tell you what happens when you come back. It's a horrific thing, worse than the beginning. Don't go back. Once you leave, stay away. Don't come back. Don't. The narcissist is very intentional with getting your mind filled with who they are and getting your memory on replay, and to lock your memory on the replay zone where you always blame yourself because you want the narcissist back. You crave the narcissist back, and you're desperate for the narcissist to come back. That desperation has caused many lives, many people mind. Go with the memory and stay no contact. No matter how you remember, stay no contact. Busy yourself with a book, go to the gym, call a supporter, call a friend that can undergird you. Pray, read your Bible, meditate, whatever will take you out of that. God will be a defender if you trust him. But you do not want to go back to hell twice. And some of you who went back several times end up with the same testimony, not a different testimony. Remember I told you about that recycling program that they embed in your mind? And then now your mind is just repetition. It's automatic replay. Your mind automatically go to replay, to play back all of the experiences. And the thing is, like a person on drugs, the drug is killing them. But they keep going back to the first time they had it. But they're looking in the mirror seeing the damage. But somehow what they see is like a floater. When you get a floater in your eye, the floater is there. But after a while, the brain erases you seeing it because you seen it for so long until the brain won't let you see the floater until you blink or think about it. And you think the floater, you can see the floater is still there. The narcissist is like a floater. They want to get to your brain so you don't see the trauma that is still there, that needs to be dealt with. And the trauma, if it's not dealt with, it grows. It gets deeper. The deeper the trauma, the more the process of coming out. We have to peel that back layer by layer. We have to go to the depth or to the core of the situation and come up and let the oil gush up. What comes out of the ground, you can use it. What come out of the ground, you can process it. And you will be amazed at the type fuel will come out, and the narcissist used it. The reason you crave the narcissist years after they're gone, the divorce is over. He's been with several supply. And those of you who have children, you are constantly dealing with them. So you're constantly interacting with them. They pick up the kids, they drop the kids off, they're talking to the kids, or if something happened, they have to talk to you. So all of that stirs up. They could be remarried. They stir up memory because of your devotion to the narcissist. So once you go, no contact. Don't rescind your decision. Go through the pain of freedom, but don't go back to bondage. It is not worth it. That pain is continuous where no contact is limited, only for a little bit until you're free. And all of the people who are free are enjoying their freedom. They're growing. They're happy. They're joyful. This is what we want you to get back. We want your tears to dry up. We want your smile to come back. We want you to remember how powerful you really are. Let's change your mind, and we can affect your memory. And you will crave life and love, real love. And your past will be history. And so will the narcissist. I am Helen Sadler. Please subscribe, like, and share the video. I am a life coach. Those of you who want coaching with me, please write me at apostlehelen@gmail.com. I am available for you. My calendar is filling. Thank you so much for those of you that I'm already coaching and the different results that I'm seeing in your life. Keep on keeping on and keep on being strong. You're getting ready to see the beauty of who you really are. Remember to subscribe, like, and share the page. And if you want life coaching from me, please write me at write me at Destiny Hepper 12S. I'm sorry for the other. Destiny Hepper 12S @gmail.com. Destiny Hepper 12S @gmail.com. It would be an honor and a privilege to see you fly as the eagle you are once again. I will see you on the next video. Bye-bye.